network of television shows. Josh Mancuso, Caleb Mancuso. What's
Brother
up, buddy?
Caleb. What's going on? We're ready to talk some football this week?
Golly, I've never been more ready in my life. We got some good football going on right now. How you feeling? I like
Yeah.
that shirt.
Oh, I'm feeling great. I'm still getting a cigar off my tongue from Saturday night. I'm feeling absolutely fantastic. What about you?
Let's go, feeling good. Yeah, I smoke me a cigar. I smoke one every time Tennessee wins, so I don't smoke often. But listen, 2 years ago, I went and bought a cigar before the game,
Yeah.
and we won. Last year, I forgot to get one, and we lost. So I'll take full responsibility for last year's loss. This year, I went and got one, and we
Come on,
won
dude.
again. So it's really, yeah, it's all me. I know.
It is. It's absolutely all you.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm glad you're back on your game this year.
Oh yeah, we're back. So we got some good stuff going on right now. Should we just dive into it? If you're watching the show here today, we're live. Send in some questions for myself or for brother Caleb. Anything college football related. Um, anything about your life you want to discuss? I'm just kidding. Don't give us that crap. We just want to talk
No,
football.
don't give us.
We,
You'll be really disappointed with that advice.
yeah, don't do it. You won't like it. Um, we just shoot you straight. So yeah, good stuff. But make sure you're following us on all the social medias, the Instagram, the Twitter, the Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Stringly. That's probably not one. Stringly. That's probably not one. It could be
String beans.
String. Yeah, I like that's my favorite. Follow us. Honorablementionsports.com is our website, so make sure you're checking us out. So thanks for watching, everybody. We're live right now on several channels, and we'll be posting clips from this video later this week. And let's get into it. I've got a Caleb. I've got a top 25 I put out every week. Right, the people just can't wait to see it. Right, it's
They're
the
ready.
number one sports top 25 in America.
Okay. So let's see that. What a claim.
Yeah, well, I'm claiming it right now, and we are getting there. We are. We're sorted, and look
Wow.
at that. There it is. There it is. There's the big one.
Where's Ohio State? I don't see them.
You don't listen.
Oh, they're 11. 11?
I got him at 11. I do.
You got some explaining to do there.
I do. So I'm gonna explain to you really quick. So you see my top 25. We got Oregon, Georgia, Penn State, Miami, Texas, LSU, BYU, Tennessee, Clemson, Indiana, Ohio State, Notre Dame. Top 12 right there. So all right, I posted my top 25 earlier this week. First of all, let me tell you, my top 25 is probably the best and most important top 25 of all. It's not the AP or the coaches; it's mine, and so that's what you need to pay attention to. The amount of thought that goes into it is phenomenal. But here's my thing. I got Ohio State fans all mad at me on Facebook. They're all up in my comments fussing at me about this Ohio State being at 11th. I got Ohio State at 11th, and I'm gonna tell you why. This is why right here. First of all, like I get the the people being upset. I get it. But Ohio State, I'm gonna tell you right now. Here's Ohio State's wins. Okay, Akron,
Okay.
Western Michigan,
Not good.
Marshall.
Booty.
Okay, Michigan State, who's terrible this year,
Doo-doo.
and Iowa. Okay,
Buns.
Iowa's okay, right? Ohio State's played one ranked team, that's Oregon, and they lost. Right, that was a close
Close
one,
game. Close
very
game.
close game. But as it turns out, you have to win. That's part of the game, right? You got to win the game. So I'm looking at my top 25. I'm looking at saying, like, who deserves to be up there? Like, what has Ohio State done to deserve to be fourth, fifth, sixth, even? What have they done so far to deserve that? Like, we can't just rank Ohio State up there just because they're Ohio State. They've won five games that are not impressive, and they lost one to rank.
Yeah.
I'm looking up here at BYU and Tennessee and Clemson. I'm looking at these teams that have had to fight and scratch and claw and work their way into those rankings. Ohio State, they're just not there, in my opinion. Are they good? Of course they're good, and they're probably gonna, they've got some big games coming up. But for comparison, like let's look at Illinois. I got Illinois at 14. Okay, so when I
Right.
look at what Illinois has done, they have they beat Kansas, who at the time was ranked, right? They beat Nebraska, who was at the time was ranked, and they beat Michigan. Those are three solid wins
Yeah.
for Illinois, who is 6-1, with one loss coming to Penn State, they lost 21-7. So, and I've only got them at 14. Some people could argue, well, Illinois has got a better record, like a better, slate of games than Ohio State does. So Illinois could be up there, right? All these teams, I think, have uh, done something to earn their way into being in the top 10. Ohio State is probably a top 10 team, yes, but they just haven't done it yet. You know what I mean? They're just not there yet. So I'll put them at 11 and just wait and see what they do. When they play Indiana, all right, then we'll see. When they play Penn State, then we'll see. Then they'll be up there if they win those games. What do you think?
Well, Ohio State, they've only played one ranked team. They lost to Oregon,
Right.
but it's not like Oregon is a ranked team. That's the number one team in the country right now. So a
True.
1 point loss, and they played them at Oregon. So they're definitely one of the top teams in the country, right? By that measure. A lot of people look at Ohio State, that's the best roster money can buy. I think they're just looking at the roster compared to, say, an Illinois roster and going, they just hadn't had the chance yet. They
Right.
had their one chance against Oregon. They were right there on the doorstep. I don't know if I have them that far. That seems awful far back. I have them in the top, at least the top 6, probably top 5.
So I think that's still a worthy argument. I'm thinking, looking at BYU and what they've done. I mean, they're 7-0, right? They beat Kansas State, a ranked team
Yep.
who's only got one loss. They beat SMU. Their only one loss came to BYU. They beat Oklahoma State. Like, the quality of wins there is significant. So it's not really about Ohio State's not good enough to be 11th. It's more like rewarding the other teams for doing what they've done. And Indiana's 7-0. Like, I'm rewarding them for being 7-0.
Sure.
Right? Clemson, Tennessee, BYU, they've won big games. So that's why I've got Ohio State at 11, not because they are no good or because they're not competitive with the other teams, but I mean, it's
Well,
not
I think it speaks to the Big Ten. It speaks to the Big Ten. They people talk like it's the SEC and the Big Ten and then everybody else. No, it's not. It's the SEC, then the Big Ten, everybody else. Nobody in the SEC could run off that amount of conference games and play nobody, or only play one big game, Oregon, and everybody else just kind of be trash. No.
Yeah.
So it's not Ohio State's fault, but that's the schedule they have.
Right. That's what they have. And so you can only do with, what you've got. And I understand that. Illinois has been dealt some tougher games early on, and they've won them. So in my mind, you reward them. Or BYU have been some tougher games, and they've won them, been able to stay undefeated, which is tough to do. Same with Miami, right? I guess it could be argued, and I think it's worthy that I've got Penn State and Miami too high, maybe. But again, Penn State they've got some better wins. They beat West Virginia, they beat Illinois, they beat USC. Just better wins. Miami's managed to go 7-0 despite some close calls, but it's tough to be undefeated at this point in the season, no matter who you are. It could be argued that Texas is too. I got them too high at 5, maybe. I don't know, or maybe they're too.
I mean, Texas really hadn't played anybody either. Really,
no, they haven't.
And they played Georgia and got manhandled last weekend.
Yeah, they did. It wasn't even close. I mean, it was, and you called it. Good job, Caleb. He picked Georgia last week on the show to win the game. How's that feel? Does it feel good to? I picked Texas, and so you've beat me yet once again in something else.
Yeah, you said Matthew McConaughey was going to bring him in there. I saw him on the sidelines all game, looking sad.
He was, sad McConaughey.
He was. Did you see the post-game speech from Kirby Smart when they tried to turn the lights out on him? Woo!
Yeah.
About that.
Yeah. What was it? He was like, we're not here to take pictures and stuff. We're here to eat.
We're here to eat. We're hungry.
We came to eat.
Yeah.
Right? Eating some steak.
Okay, steak. It's like our Uncle Mark on Thanksgiving. That boy comes to eat.
It comes to eat. We got some uncles that like to eat on Thanksgiving. They better be watching this show. If not, we're
yeah, what are they doing?
We're not talking to them anymore. We got some questions coming in. Okay, we'll do a few here. Let's see. Drew, you want to bring some of these questions in here? Maybe we can answer a couple. Okay.
Donald's, this is his second comment on Penn State. He thinks Penn State is way too high. He said this twice in the comments. Well, what do you think about Penn State?
Well, I think, again, they're still undefeated. I'm rewarding them for that. The wins they've had, you could say, well, okay, West Virginia, but they won 34-12 on that one. They beat Illinois, who is a tough team. They beat USC. They just look like, in my opinion, a complete team. One of the more complete teams that I've watched so far. Um, I think the same thing um, about LSU and A&M. Some of these other SEC teams. I mean, they're just a complete team. So that's why I think Penn State is that high. Plus, actually, I think head to head, Penn State may beat the teams I have ranked behind them. So I'm always considering all kinds of things like would they beat each other? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's all subjective. This is all so subjective, and it doesn't really matter at this point. It's just fun to talk about. Absolutely. But what do you think about Penn State? Do you think they're as good as people think they are?
I think they're going to get a wake up call.
Yeah,
They're a good team. Don't get me wrong. They're a good team. Are they a top 5 team? No, I don't think so. I think Ohio State's going to beat them next weekend. The game's next
yeah,
weekend. Yeah, I look for Ohio State to win that game, but they're a good team, but they're not that good. They're not that
yeah.
good.
Yeah. Now, Mike Benson, he says BYU, in my opinion, is too high. I know they're undefeated, but they're in the Big 12, and the Big 12 is nothing anymore.
I
Big
hear you,
12 ain't
Mike.
nothing no more, Mike.
Or the Big 12.
But I still listen. You got Kansas State is 6-1. Their one loss coming to BYU. SMU, one loss. Their one loss coming to BYU. BYU's taking out Arizona, Oklahoma State. I mean, they just keep finding ways to win, and their offense is freaking good. Their offense is fun to watch.
Yeah.
They play like with reckless abandon.
Yes. Yes.
So
I tell you, if they get to host a playoff game this year, if they're one of those teams that get to host, watch out having to play up there.
yeah,
That could be a cool scene for a playoff game.
that'd be pretty wild. Okay, somebody's
Yeah, oh
asking
yeah.
here, Sean, what do you foresee happening if Tennessee beats Georgia? Oh, Caleb, take that one. What do you think?
I foresee Tennessee going to the playoff.
Yeah,
Yeah, no doubt. I think Tennessee can beat Georgia. It's possible. Georgia's a really good team. We've still yet to see Heupel win a big, big road game. I thought that game was Oklahoma, and Oklahoma's panned out to just not be very good, especially on offense.
yeah,
So I'm not sure I'm ready to put that to bed yet. So I want to see Heupel do it on the road. If Tennessee beats Georgia, though, that would be massive. I say the game last weekend,
huge.
they had enough offensive movement to score like 20 points in the first half. If they
Yeah,
just make some routine plays, they got it together and scored 24 in the second half. So it's definitely possible. But again, you're playing a team like Kirby Smart at home. Yeah, I don't
yeah.
know. We'll see.
That's a tough game. But if to answer the question of Tennessee, yeah, like you said, if they beat Georgia, they're in the playoff 100%, unless
100%.
they drop a game that they shouldn't.
What happens to Georgia? Would they make the playoff if they lose?
Well, I maybe. Yeah, I mean, you think about it all coming to a head. Who ends up in the SEC championship game as well will be if you've got
True.
so if you've got 3 2-loss teams, and a 1-loss team, or they're all 2-loss teams. I mean, it's going to be wild to see. And you need to look at the head-to-heads, and whoever's in that game obviously has a leg up because the winner will automatically go, and the loser may or may not go. It's just going to shake up to be so interesting. And I love this time of the year because you've got a bunch of teams that have 1 loss
Yeah.
or maybe 2 losses. You're just kind of seeing who's the real deal and who's not. And one of the other things that I'll mention about this top 25 is that I've been getting flack about is Navy not being in my top 25.
Oh, where's Navy?
Look at that. Look at that bottom at 21. I got Missouri, SMU, Vanderbilt, Army, and
Army.
Wazoo bringing in the
Army's in there.
Cougars, making Ryan Leaf proud. Um, here's my argument for okay. So Caleb, we were in the Army hat today. You're an Army guy. Here's my argument for Army being in there and Navy not. Navy is my 26. Like I keep a 26, 27, 28 kind of in the wings. Like who am I going to put in that 25 spot? And I put Washington State up there. I feel like they deserved it. Here's the thing: Army for one is 7-0, Navy
They
6-0.
are.
That's just one game. They haven't played as many games, so it's no big deal. But they got one more win. Another thing: ESPN's FPI has Army at 51, Navy at 65. So
Interesting.
something there just in terms of who they expect to win more games going forward, right? Another thing, Army has covered every game. That's the thing you always talk about. Army being a freaking cover monster.
They've crushed teams. They absolutely dominate.
Yeah, they're fun to watch, and they're killing people. Another thing too, Washington State, I'm looking at them. They've got quality wins over Washington,
Okay.
Texas Tech, right? Texas Tech, I thought actually was pretty good this year. Fresno State, Hawaii, still smaller teams, but still strength of schedule wise, it's a little bit bigger, a little bit higher than Army and Navy both. When you're talking strength of schedule, looking at Washington State, and they're 6-1. They got this quarterback John Mateer. Have you seen him? He's got almost 2,000 yards, 16
No kidding.
touchdowns, 533 rushing yards. I mean, they're playing ball pretty well. Yeah. So give Washington State a little bit of love there. And what's funny is that based on the rest of their schedule, they might go 11-1. Washington State might, which would be hilarious.
Wow. That would be something else. Is there a chance they make the playoff at 11-1?
I don't think so. Strength of schedule is too small. They're hanging around the Pac-12. They're just not being taken seriously, I don't think.
Yeah, I agree.
So I don't
well,
think
that's like I saw this week Army and Navy. I don't think they've played a team with a winning record yet, either of them. So I think they're both good. Army is crushing teams, and Navy has been too. But we'll see. They both get to play the Irish from Notre Dame. I think Navy plays them this weekend. Army plays them sometime in November. Yeah, and that'll be a good litmus test for both of those teams. Right now, they haven't played anybody. But at the same time, sometimes the Atlantic Athletic Conference teams are they get devalued because they go play large Power 5 schools at the beginning of the season as like the cupcake warm up. So they all come into the games with poor records, right? Because they go play Ohio State and Alabama, and they don't typically win. So sometimes those teams are better than their record indicates at the mid part of the season. But I don't know. The teams Army played have not looked good, but Army has. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's a great analysis. It's so cool to look at these stats for these quarterbacks for both of the academies. Sorry, not Air Force. They're terrible. We're only going to look at the two that are actually good. Blake Horvath for Navy, 888 yards passing. Not a lot, but 10 touchdowns, only one interception. He's got 621 yards rushing and 10 touchdowns rushing. Great. I mean, those are great stats for a Navy quarterback. Bryson Daly, though, he's only got 629 yards passing, but 7 touchdowns, no picks. And he's got 909 yards rushing, Bryson Daly does, Army's quarterback, and 19 touchdowns.
Yes.
19 touchdowns. That's the most in the nation. This Army quarterback is third in the country in rushing yards. But it's like Ashton Jeanty from Boise State, and I forgot who number 2 is, and then Bryson Daly, Army's quarterback. How wild is that?
Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome. They run him a lot, and he's a great player. Saw a comment from Justin. Does an 11-2 SEC team get in if they lose the SEC championship? I think they do, for sure. What do you think, Josh?
I think so. It depends on the team, but I think an 11-2 based on what I'm seeing. So if it's an 11-2, Georgia, Texas, Tennessee, LSU, A&M, I think they're in. It depends on the other teams, but more than likely, I think so.
Yeah, I do too. So you got Tennessee at 8, Alabama at 19. That was a big game in our world this weekend. Well, what did you think there about the game, and also where you ranked them?
Yeah, man. Just again, Tennessee is a top 5 defense. I mean, they're one of the best defenses in the country. That's it's impressive to watch them play defense and know that they can probably beat anybody if their offense can play at 85% of what they're capable of. Tennessee can beat anybody. If they play at their max, they can kill people. But when they're not playing well, offense isn't playing well, they lose to teams like Arkansas, right? 19-14, which was insane.
14. Yeah.
If you told me that Tennessee held Arkansas to 19 points, I said, well, we must have scored 50, No. Apparently, we only played offense in the second half. So we got to stop doing that nonsense. And Alabama, I pulled them back at 19. They're still Alabama. They're still good, but they don't look the same. They look so different right now. They look like a team that doesn't know who they are. They don't have an identity. They're just kind of winging it as we're Alabama and we have athletes and we have a great coach, but we don't know what we're doing or who we are. So they're just kind of figuring it out. So I got them at 19, feeling like, they don't deserve to be above Ole Miss. I think they play Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss wins the game. I don't think, I got Iowa State above them at 17 because they're undefeated. Pitt's undefeated. Kansas State's only lost 1 game. I think, again, rewarding the teams that have shown that they're good and I'll mention this really quick, but I'll ask you. But Iowa State, another team that I've gotten a lot of flack for putting them at 17 when they're a top 10 team, I think in most other polls, is Iowa State does not and really impressed me that much. I get that they're undefeated, but their schedule is, uh, it's not. I mean, their first game they beat North Dakota 21-3. They only scored 21 points on North Dakota.
Not
They
good.
they beat Iowa by a point. Then they've gone on to beat Arkansas State, Houston, and Baylor. They did beat West Virginia and they beat UCF. So they're doing, but they just don't. I'm not impressed. I'm just not impressed. I watch them play and I'm like, man, every team I have ranked above Iowa State, Pitt, Kansas State, Illinois, A&M, I think they all beat Iowa State. All of them would beat Iowa State. I think Iowa State, we talked about this maybe last week. Iowa State would be 7-5 if they went to the SEC. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think they would. They might be better than 7-5, but I don't think they're competing for a SEC championship by any stretch. Not by any stretch. I think they're in there with Florida and Kentucky and everything else. We see Alabama might lose to Missouri this week. Saw another comment. Alabama's unraveling. Do you think they hired the right guy into board, or do you think they missed? What's your take on him? Is he the right hire? Does he need to go?
I think he was probably the right hire. I don't see any reason to think that he wasn't. I mean, they're still a 5-2 team. They lost to two, one rival, Tennessee, and one apparently new team that's good at football now, Vanderbilt. But I think every team is going to go through these ups and downs, right? I mean, you can't just be on top all the time. Like you're going to go. So I think he'll figure it out. Yeah, he'll figure it out. He'll get the staff that all situated that he needs. He'll get the players situated he needs, and I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be competitive every year going forward with him. Yeah. What do you think?
I think so too. The expectation that they were going to stay at Nick Saban's level from any coach was just unrealistic. That's not sustainable. It's the same thing with Bear Bryant left. You're not just going to sustain Bear Bryant to Nick Saban forever. There's going to be a drop off.
Yeah.
It's evident that this is not a Nick Saban coach team, though. The penalties, the errors that they have mentally, not winning close games, closing out close games, losing at places like Vanderbilt, that stuff is unthinkable under Nick Saban.
Yeah.
And so I've heard some stuff where it's like the Iron Curtain got lifted off the program and everyone's just kind of like relaxing. And I could see that happening to the board, but who would that not happen with? I mean,
yeah.
Like, who would you hire that's not going to happen with?
Yeah, I mean, if you're an Alabama fan, like, what do you think is going to happen? Like the next Nick Saban is going to walk through the door, but
exactly,
it's not going to happen. You have to. I mean, you're going to get a coach. I mean, even if they gotten, I don't know who else they're looking at. If they got Lane Kiffin or something, I don't know who they thought they were going to get. DeBoer has won everywhere he's been.
Sure.
I mean, he's proven to be the guy to get the job. We just got to see if he can, see if he can get it done. But I think he will.
I do too.
Okay. So I feel, top 25, there we go. There we have it. I like to shake it up a little bit, get people talking. Some people said, Liz said those Buckeye fans are going to come for you. That's probably, they've been coming for me for
what,
you.
They're going to throw their nuts at you, the Buckeyes?
That's right. Watch out for those nuts. Wild. Good stuff, man. All right. So we're going to get to our picks now for the week. Got some good games, man. Some just great games. I'll kick us off here, Caleb, and then we'll rotate back and forth. But I'll kick us off with the game that's happening happening tonight, actually. So I don't usually put out the graphic of my picks until usually Friday, sometimes even Saturday morning. But you can check back here to this show to see if I got this pick right or not. But we've got Syracuse at Pitt, which, man, I'm excited about this game. I can't wait to watch it. And I love Pitt. I like watching them play football. I like their quarterback Holstein. I think he's good. But I am looking at Syracuse to get a win here on the road. I like Kyle McCord. He's an older quarterback to go to Pitt, get the upset, and throw the ACC into even more of a tailspin here. Now you're going to have two teams 6-1. So I'm taking the orange to I met some friends from Syracuse this past week, by the way, when I was doing a show down in South Carolina. So I'm taking Syracuse on the road to upset Pitt.
No,
yeah, I'm doing it.
Pitt. No, they're not coming into Narduzzi country and Narduzzi and the own Narduzzi himself. No way. Pitt covers. I think they're like, what's the spread? 5.5.
Yes,
Pitt
5.5,
covers that.
6. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Well, it depends on who you ask. It looks like I got 4 from ESPN. But all right, so you're taking Pitt. I like it.
Taking
I
Pitt.
like it. All right, who's next?
All right, let's pull up who's next. We've got Penn State at Wisconsin. Penn State minus 6.5, so not quite a touchdown at 6.5. And they're on the road at Wisconsin. Who you like there, Josh? You're giving Penn State a ton of love in your top 25, so
I better stick with them. I would be an idiot to put them in at number 3 and then say they're going to lose to Wisconsin. So, yeah, I like Drew Aller. I like what he's been able to do. I think Penn State is one of those complete teams. They just got it going on all sides of the ball. I think they're going to be tough to beat. Maybe this is the year they beat Ohio State as well. I don't know. But yeah, I'm taking Wisconsin. I thought looked pretty rough early on, but they've kind of gotten it together now, and they look pretty decent. They got a good running back as always. But I think Penn State goes on the road and wins the game. I think they cover the spread as well, maybe winning by 10. So I'm taking the Nittany Lions.
Wow. All right. Nittany Lions. Brett says Wisconsin. No, I think Penn State wins this game. If Penn State's for real, they got to win this game. There's a chance that they are looking ahead to Ohio State next week, but it's no. It's a game at Wisconsin. You're going to get up and be ready for that. Penn State's a better team. Yeah. They should win this game. I think they cover too. I think that line's too low.
Yeah, you look at Wisconsin's last 5 there that Drew's got pulled up for us. I mean, the wins are Purdue, Rutgers, Northwestern. So just not super impressive there.
And they got thrashed by Alabama.
Yeah.
Absolutely thrashed. And if you're talking about Penn State being a top national champion contender, they shouldn't be getting thrashed. They should not be losing to a team that got thrashed by Alabama.
Yeah, I know. I agree. You guys that are watching and listening, thanks for doing so. Make sure you're following not just me, but following Honorable Mention Sports on the social media channels, because that's where you're going to get more content like this, not just from me and Caleb, but from Drew and others that are contributors. So feel free to drop your picks in the comments here as we're talking about who you think is going to win. Brett says Pitt, and he says Wisconsin. So, Brett, you and I are at odds so far on this show, sir. Now,
come on, Brett.
Come on, Brett. Dadgum. All right, Boise State at UNLV, a game I don't really care about, but it seems interesting. And Boise's got a 2.5-point favorite here, but they're both like 6-1, I think. I mean, they're both really good teams. I'm taking Boise State. I'm not going to pick against them probably again at this point, given that I just love their running back. I think if you can just get him over 150 yards, they're going to win the game, which is not that hard to do with him. So give me the Boise State Broncos take on the Rebels there.
Love it. We talked about when Colorado went and played UCF, when two teams are close and one has got the best player on the field by far, take the team with the better player. That's Boise State with that running back. He's incredible, taking a team with the better player. Although I give UNLV credit after everything that went on with their quarterback to still be this good. Props to that team. Props to those kids in the locker room and the coaches after all that. I'm not blaming the quarterback, but those kids could have ended up not playing the way they have. So good for them. But I don't think they get it done.
No, you're right, though. That's amazing that they've done what they've done. When your quarterback says, I think I'm done. And that's a whole nother conversation, but it's pretty cool that the team stepped up and said, we're going to keep winning.
Yeah, it is.
It's a team sport. Brett Crabtree, I love you too, buddy. Look at that. The love's coming in there. He says, I just say the opposite from Josh Mancuso. I say Badgers by 10. That's funny. Okay. Caleb, who's next? Who you want to talk about next?
So we just got a comment that says Texas loses this weekend.
Wesley,
Texas loses this week. Texas 18.5-point favorite at Vanderbilt, which is suddenly the toughest venue to play in all the SEC. Do you think Texas loses this week, Josh?
In Nashville, Texas going to Nashville. And did you see Vanderbilt's, they put up a net in front of the away section so that Texas fans don't throw stuff on the field. How amazing is that?
Is that real, or is that just a joke you made up?
No, that's real. That's
real.
Yes, that is real. They put a net up. So
that's funny.
If somebody fact check me on that. If you work for ABC News, you're not going to fact check me. But if you work for somebody else, you might fact check me. Go ahead and do that, and we'll see. Okay, so Nightly news music going. I love it. That's so good. I don't think Vanderbilt is going to win this game. No, that spread though, 19 points. Some of these spreads on this game,
Juicy.
outrageous. I mean, this one, I think Vanderbilt covers the spread. Possibly, I do. I like this Diego Pavia kid. Go Diego, go! And but I'm taking Texas to win the game. Absolutely, they're still Texas, man. Yeah, they're gonna. I mean, they probably won't lose another game, I don't think, the rest of the year, so give me the Longhorns.
Yeah, I like it. Texas has got too good of a roster, but I'm headed with Matthew Cheek here in the comments. Vanderbilt keeps it closer than 18.5, but Texas wins. Yeah, he's got it right. Put your money on Vandy minus or plus 18.5, no doubt.
Love it. Attaboy Cheek, let's go. Call it
Yes,
you
sir.
should be running this show, uh, with those picks. I like it. So Texas, we're thinking Texas. All right, the next game, I'm interested in is Georgia Tech at Virginia Tech. Just 2 teams that are kind of hanging around there. They're both 4-3, I think, but, we live in the South and people care about this game. Virginia Tech, though, 10.5-point favorites, which was shocking to me. I think it's
Ooh.
because Haynes King, their quarterback there at Georgia Tech, I don't think uh, they're not sure if he's gonna be able to go or not, but, I'm taking the Hokies at home there. I've bet against the Hokies a couple times this year, and it came back to bite me, so I'm not doing it again. Give me the Hokies in the Tech versus Tech matchup.
Tech and Tech. That's kind of a tough pick for me. I would pick the team getting the points, especially something like 10.5. In this case, Georgia Tech. If I have to pick a winner, a money line winner, I'm picking the home team of Virginia Tech. It's a tough place to play at Lane Stadium,
Yeah,
especially if you can get them at night. I'm not sure what time that game kicks, but good. That's a tough place to play no matter when.
yeah, I think it's maybe tomorrow night. Is it Friday night? No,
No,
it's
it's
a
at
it's a
12.
noon game. Okay,
Yeah, it's
noon
a noon
game.
game. So that helps Georgia Tech quite a bit, but I'm
Yeah.
still going to take Tech to win the game.
I love Georgia Tech's
Virginia
quarterback.
Tech.
Virginia Virginia Tech.
There's a lot of technical students going on there, a lot of
There's a
engineers.
lot of techs going on.
Yeah.
I don't know much about the tech stuff.
No, me either. Yeah, unlike us, there's a lot of tech going on in that game.
Yeah. Brett says Tech wins. You just bet on Tech and you got it. Okay, who else we got, buddy? Who do you wanna talk about next?
Oh, let's see. So, how about Alabama this week? What do you think about
Woo-hoo.
Missouri, Alabama? Missouri is getting 16.5 at Alabama. That seems bonkers to me,
That
that
seems
many points.
crazy.
You think Alabama rebounds or what?
I do think they rebound. I think Missouri is overrated. I think they don't they've got some talent, but they're just not able to win, the tough games, and so I
Yes.
don't think they have a chance really at beating Alabama. I think Bama wins. They're gonna come off this loss from Tennessee ready to go. You don't lose twice in a season at Alabama that often, right? So they're like, "We gotta get it together." I think Alabama wins. I don't know about that spread, though. I don't think it may be a little closer than that. 16.5, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe more like 10 or 13, I don't know. I think they may cover, but Bama wins the game.
I agree. It's too many points, but Alabama wins the game. Missouri's just overrated. They're way overrated.
Yeah.
Come on, they're way overrated. Alabama is not as good as some people thought, but I don't think they're as bad as people think either. That's still a
Yeah.
really dangerous lineup. They still have a good quarterback that's experienced. Alabama wins the game. I want to ask you real quick for the next pick, though. What about the Alabama radio commenter saying they're piping in crowd noise in Knoxville at Neyland Stadium? Did you see that?
I did. I saw just a glimpse of that. All I saw was Josh Heupel's reaction, in which he said that is an insult to Tennessee fans everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't you don't need to pipe in crowd noise from in Neyland Stadium or any stadium, really. I mean, I think they got the video board up there that's got
Yeah.
and they get you going with the things. I'm sure there's audio coming out of that video board, but they're not piping in like fan cheering in there. I don't think. That seems crazy to me. My gosh.
You don't think that's legit? So the Alabama radio announcer I saw today where he defended it and basically doubled down on those comments. He doubled down and said he said, "I'm not saying it's a bad thing," but he said they have speakers pointed at the Alabama bench and they pipe in crowd noise. So,
Well, yeah. I mean, are you talking about piping in crowd noise from the actual crowd? Like, and then taking that sound and running it through speakers onto their sideline, or they're piping in external, like fabricated crowd noise that into the speakers. It's not part of the game.
I think he meant that they were piping in like noises of the crowd through speakers.
Okay.
Through speakers. That's behind the Alabama bench.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. I don't know if that's, true or not, or if it even matters if they're doing it. What do you I
It
mean,
definitely happens. If you saw, there was a clip on Eli and Peyton doing Monday Night Football the other night where Bill Belichick was on, and he said he was giving them a hard time. They pumped in crowd noise at the Colts stadium indoors, and they
really?
know he pumped it in because the soundtrack skipped. It started skipping in the middle of the game, so the crowd noise was skipping. And Peyton said, "Oh, our crowd was just that into it. They're just that squared away that they can even do the skips together."
They can even do the skips together.
Yeah,
They're on the
yeah,
same page. They're like, "Yeah,
yeah. That's what it was for a
that's
couple minutes.
amazing." Jeez. Oh, like Stacy. Stacy says, "But the bench isn't playing." That's good. That's true. I mean, you piping
Oh,
in
there
music
you
to
go,
the
Stacy.
or, noise to the bench. I mean, yeah, it's loud down there, I know, and, I don't know if they're piping it in, that's fine. That's fine with me. I mean, that's wild. I don't know.
We'll see. All right,
Um,
next game. I'll grab you one.
grab me one. What do we
Um,
got?
I love this game. LSU at Texas A&M. Texas
Oh,
A&M's
man.
a 2.5 point favorite at home. Both of these teams have looked really good and not so good. God, who do you like there?
Man, I tell you what, I had trouble picking this game, just thinking through it, like, these 2 teams, I think, are evenly matched. I really do. They're both very good. They got some weaknesses. I think LSU's got a lot more injuries coming into this game. I saw
Oh,
that could be a factor. A&M is missing, I think, a key offensive lineman though as well. So I don't all that together. You know, I like A&M at home to take out the Tigers of LSU. I think A&M, you know, they got Connor Wagman back and Wagman. I don't know how you say his name. You got Connor
yeah.
back, and I think, you know, he's a good quarterback. But that's not really what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about just the A&M defense. I'm thinking about their ability to rush the ball. Um, as you can see here, I mean, it's a close game. It's almost 50-50, they give the Aggies 2.5 point spread. But yeah, I'm taking the Aggies, man. I'm thinking at home they get it done. It's a night game there, College Station, Texas A&M.
Oh, okay, good pick. I like Texas A&M at home. It's a tough place to play. I'm taking LSU though. I'm taking
Okay,
LSU. I'm there with Brett. He says LSU's dangerous right now. I agree. They have improved a lot since the USC game, both USC games, the first game against Southern California and against South Carolina, where
yeah,
they should have gotten beat against South Carolina, and they've improved significantly. They're
yeah,
hot. And the other thing is, I trust Garrett Nussmeier, an old quarterback like that on the road in the
yeah,
SEC. I always defer to really senior quarterbacks when it comes to the SEC road games. And lastly, Texas A&M is overrated year after year after year. They
yeah.
do this every year where they get they get all this respect that is hard for me to justify how it's earned. Same thing this year. I think LSU goes in there and wins that game.
That's a great pick. I mean, again, I could have flipped a coin on this. You know, I think I've picked against A&M maybe a couple times. I don't know. I'm kind of banking on that home crowd, maybe making some noise there, the 12th man, and then finding a way to win, probably a close one. So, but great pick, the LSU. I mean, I think I was kind of pulling for LSU there um, all week, and then last minute I was like, I'm just going to go with A&M. I think they're going to get it done. So,
You
um,
think that the 12th man is going to be real crowd noise or piped in crowd noise?
if it's piped in, that's like 13 men probably. So,
Yeah, yeah,
but the
yeah.
12th man, yeah, they're legit. But that's
It's real.
crowd noise. Piping it in. Let's pipe it in. Sure. Let's.
We're getting so many comments about the crowd noise.
Yeah.
I see Ronnie Stockton. She is passionate about the crowd noise. She said she was there and lost her voice. So did everybody else. That's phenomenal.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing us a win there, Ronnie. Since we're Tennessee fans here. What's Christopher say? The home team has won the last 7. Yeah.
Oh wow, good stat
Look,
there,
how
Christopher.
about that? Bringing in the stats. A&M don't need no fake noise. John Brennan said. Yeah, I like Mike Elko. I mean, it's very cool. Comes over from
Do you?
Duke, turns,
Yeah.
turns, rights the ship, gets them going in the right direction. Living up to that paycheck. So I don't know.
Right.
But Brian Kelly's been at LSU for several years. I mean, they need to be, competing for a national championship. I think. at this point.
Yeah, I agree. I think his leash is getting to they make the playoffs or it gets hot. I'm not saying they fire him. I'm
Yeah,
just saying if LSU misses the playoffs this year, there's a little heat under the seat, right? He's got to
yeah,
start stepping into the national picture. That's the expectation, LSU. So this is an opportunity. They got 3 or 4 games coming up, or at least 2 or 3, where they got Alabama, Texas A&M, some others. So,
yeah.
yeah, we'll see. What about Oklahoma at Ole Miss? Ole Miss is a
Man.
20-point favorite at home. Man, Ole Miss hadn't looked as good as advertised. What do you think?
I know. Well, both teams have been disappointments, I think, to an extent, but none more so than Oklahoma. At this point, I love Oklahoma. I'm a fan. I've been to the games. I love their team and their university. It's awesome. But boy, they are struggling. And this was a game
Mhm.
that I was excited about early on. I was like, I can't wait to these Oklahoma gets in the SEC. They're going to play these teams. They're going to play Tennessee. They're going to play Ole Miss. And this was at one point probably going to be a close game. But now I cannot believe this line though. 20-point spread.
Holy God.
20-point spread for Ole Miss. I mean, that is wild. But I might take it. I don't know. Ole Miss wins the game 100%. No doubt. In Oxford right there. It's a noon game. OU is going to get slapped in the mouth by this
Yeah.
Ole Miss offense. I know Oklahoma's got a great defense, but I like Jackson Dart, Trey Harris, these guys to light them up there, and I'm thinking they win. I don't know if it's 20 points, but they'll win by a couple of touchdowns for sure. I don't think Oklahoma may not score more than a couple of touchdowns themselves. Their offense is just sad. So, yeah, the Rebels all day long, or whatever they are, Land Sharks. I don't know what they are, but give me the Ole Miss team.
Yeah, the Land Sharks. Oh, the Oklahoma offense is sad. It's so sad. They're not gonna. They can't move the ball. They're inept. They cannot move the ball whatsoever. How are they
No,
going to win a game if they can't score a point? So I
yeah,
don't know. The, I'm not betting on this game though. No chance. I can't trust
no,
either of those teams at all. Forget that. Just pass on that game and enjoy watching it stress free if you're out there. We got
that's
Ronnie back in the comments that says Kiffin is the devil, master of the fake fall.
I love it,
That's electric, Ronnie.
Ronnie. I
He is,
love it.
he is the absolute master of the fake fall. And then they came out and said it's going to be addressed in the program. Like, yeah, addressed in the program. Just tell them to quit doing it. That's all you got to do. Hey,
All
guys,
you
quit
gotta
faking
do.
injuries. That's the only address you need to address.
That's
Lame.
right. That's like we talked about is with Ron Slay. Play some football. If you go down like that, you're sitting out the next series. That's it. They
For
need to make
sure.
that rule.
What
It
about
was
Alabama doing that last week? And then the coach having
oh my
going
gosh.
ballistic like back in the day, Bobby Cox and Lou Piniella yelling at a manager, looking at the board. I'm like, dude, you literally sent a guy in to fall down. What are you yelling about?
Yeah, he was mad because he said they didn't get enough time to change out their defensive players when
Yeah.
Tennessee changed or something like that. But I mean, so they're just like when all else fails, do the fake fall.
The coach said, go
Get
in the game and
down,
fall down.
go in the game and fall down. I'm like, well, I could do that. They ought to put me
Yeah,
in as a
dude. Yeah, maybe instead of we be the long snapper and punter, but maybe we can just be the designated injury guys. When they need a
yeah,
guy to be injured for the series, that we
yeah.
just jump in on the sidelines, we grab a hamstring,
That's
boom,
it.
we're out.
I could do that all day long. I'd like to have a scholarship for that as a fall
Yeah,
specialist. Uh,
that way we'll even get around Ron Slay's idea.
that's right, man. Uh, what is it? Derek says I'm an Ohio State fan, but this is a SEC thing where they just fall all over the ground all the time.
So Derek, I kind of agree with you. I haven't
Yeah,
seen this in too many other conferences. This has kind of
yeah,
turned into an SEC phenomenon.
it is, and I think it started. I think it started with Josh Heupel's offense, that fast offense,
It did.
and they couldn't keep up with it. Ole Miss started this nonsense with the falling down, and they're still doing it. Like 3 years later, they're still doing it. Lane Kiffin is like, "What are you talking about?" I mean, everyone knows they're doing it on purpose. It's there's nothing in the rules about it currently, but there needs to be. But it's sort of like an unspoken rule, I would think, that you don't do that crap. Like if you can't beat me normally, you know, in between the tackle boxes and on the line of scrimmage, and you had to fake an injury because you can't get your players back fast enough. Because I mean, it's ridiculous. It's Lane Kiffin's fault. I'm blaming Lane, blaming on the lane.
It is. I think so. I think that started. We're gonna tie together a few segments of the show here. It started in Knoxville a few years ago when Ole Miss came back and they
Yep.
started faking injury, and then Tennessee pulled to Texas and started throwing throwing things on the field. I think you were in the stadium that day. You weren't, as far as we know, throwing anything. Allegedly, maybe. I don't think
I
so.
did not throw a thing, but I was at that game, and they
You
were
said you
hauling
almost
stuff.
got hit.
Oh yeah, mustard bottles and things, golf balls, anything. People just grabbing stuff they could find around. Like, here's a empty candy wrapper. Anything they could find. Mountain Dew bottles. I mean, yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
Mountain Dew being drunk in East Tennessee. So just I just can't get who brought how did someone even have a mustard bottle on them at the game? Did they go like to the concession stand? It's like, I'll take a bottle of mustard, please. I need to get this on the field as soon as possible.
Yeah.
I don't get it, but
Projectile of choice, mustard bottle.
Well, I will say, I'll rant and say we gotta do better than that. That's dumb. Don't throw stuff on the field. My
It
gosh,
is
like,
dumb.
boo if you want to, that's fine, but don't throw stuff on the field. It's ridiculous. All right. Uh, we should move on to another game, but we're both wait, did you pick Ole Miss? I mean, I think you did. You said Ole Miss.
Yeah, I
Easily.
picked Ole Miss.
Okay. Obviously. Okay.
How about Navy and Notre Dame? Do you think Notre Dame? I mean, what do you think Navy can compete? Is to be determined.
I think Navy does some good things, and they may even get close a couple times. But overall, Notre Dame is people get mad at me because like not just me, but anybody that comments on Notre Dame, like Notre Dame's always ranked too high. They're always, it's just because they're Notre Dame. Well, yeah, but they're still good. They're 6-1. But they're a good team. They, I'm, they did beat A&M at home. They do have some good wins. I know that loss over Northern Illinois was sad, but yeah, no, I don't think Navy can get it done. I think that spread.
You think they're going to win? Are you predicting that?
Notre Dame?
No, Navy.
No, I don't think Navy can get it done.
Oh,
no.
Okay. I got you. Okay.
No, that's that 13-point spread. I think that's probably accurate. I would say that's about right. I think Notre Dame wins by a couple of touchdowns. Yeah.
Okay. I agree. I'm going to pick Notre Dame. I'm not trying to hate on Navy. I agree. They're legit. I see David in the comments. They'll keep it close. Okay. I'll buy that. I'm not picking the Navy. I would do the same with Army until they prove that they can play and beat one of these big boys this season. I got to see it to believe it. So I'm a little disappointed that Navy gets to play them first, because there's a big advantage when you're the first team running kind of the opposite, the run first option offense.
Yeah.
I wish Army got to play him first, but at the same time, Army will get a good chance to see on film how they come out and defend it and everything else. So I'm going to take Notre Dame, but yeah, no disrespect to Navy. They're a good team.
Despite you having a beat Navy flag behind you and wearing an Army hat, we will not disrespect Navy. But
right.
We're still picking. Look at that, looking good there. Look at that beat Navy.
It's looking great.
Looks good. It would be better for Navy if the first, big team they play was if a ranked team. If it's more of a Missouri, SMU, one of these kind of teams, Pitt, even, I don't know, just a team, not Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame they're gonna have their way with them there at some point. I just don't think they can hang. So we have some comments coming in. Miller, I would not bet on that game for the spread. That's probably good.
We had one comment going back to an earlier conversation about condiments, where Derek Evans says that nobody wants to wait in line for the ketchup and mustard bottles at the Neyland concession stand, so that's why they bring their own. Thank you, Derek. Thank you for that breakdown, understanding. Now I'm going to the Kentucky game. Now I know. I'll take my back pockets and stuff them with I'm gonna put some relish in there, maybe some honey mustard, so I'll be ready.
Some pickles. That's great. I had no idea about this, Derek.
Man.
It is BYOM there in Neyland Stadium. Bring your own mustard, because nobody wants to stand in line for some daggum condiments. You get your hot dog, right? You want to have the ketchup, the stuff ready to go. We're not waiting in line for some mustard. So bring your own condiments to the game. We got to put them in a clear bag, though. Make sure the security guys can see them. They're going to be like, "Oh, bring in mustard." Yeah. Here's a game. We're about done here, but a couple more games. Illinois at Oregon. Again, I was hyping up Illinois earlier as being a good team, and I was talking about Ohio State not being quite as good, but Illinois at Oregon. Yeah, I'm not giving Illinois a chance to really win this game. I think Oregon's too talented. It's in Eugene. I think Oregon's 91% favored to win this by 21.5. Good grief. That's just a big old spread. Illinois is going to do some damage there. I think Illinois' defense might cause some turnovers. That's the only way they can win the game, is if they cause some turnovers. I think they'll probably cause a couple, but not enough to to win the game. So I'm taking Oregon. I'm not betting on that game, the spread. I would take the money line and take Oregon, but not the spread. That's too many points for me. But yeah, give me the Ducks.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one through and through. Would not touch this game. The points is weird. It's a weird line. It's too many points, but I still
Yeah,
could see Oregon going ballistic and beating them by like 5 touchdowns. I think Oregon wins the game. We'll see. It's a game if you're not legit, it could be a game that you slip up on after you beat Ohio State, right? So
right,
there is that risk that Oregon is a pretender, but I
right.
don't think so. We'll see. I think Oregon wins this game.
Yeah, as somebody mentioned, I think in the comments a while ago that I forget, was it Kirk Herbstreit and somebody else picked the national championship to be Georgia versus Oregon,
Yeah,
which
I
is
saw that.
turning out to maybe be a pretty good pick if you're looking at that's very doable. What do you think? Do you think we're headed for a Georgia Oregon national championship?
You know, it's going to come down to what the bracket is. That I want to, and that's why
Right.
it's hard to predict. See, now back in the old days, you could just pick the 2 best teams you thought, and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to take the Big Ten winner and the SEC winner, and voila. Now it's you got to look at the bracket, and so the bracket, some people, it's going to be like March Madness, where the path to the championship will be easier for some than others. Georgia is probably my top spot, just because, like I said last week at Texas, I trust Kirby Smart. I trust the Georgia program. They are good when it matters, for sure. They're absolutely good when it matters.
Yeah.
So Georgia's my front runner. Who's going to play Georgia? I don't hate Oregon pick. I don't hate an Ohio State pick either.
Yeah.
I don't hate that at all. But it's hard to predict because you got to see who's got the path.
Right.
What are the matchups going into it, right? I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good
so
point because I didn't pick in the beginning who I thought was going to win the national championship. I didn't do that, but if I had, I think I would have said Texas and Georgia, even though they're both in the SEC. I would have
sure.
seen them rematching up, which could still happen, possibly there in the playoffs. But it'll be cool to see one more game. This is we're going to wrap it up here, but the who we got? I already forgot. Oh, Washington. Okay. College game day is headed to
Oh
Indiana
yeah,
for the first time in who knows how long. Washington at Indiana. Uh, I don't know too much about these teams. I like Kurt Signetti, the Indiana coach, pretty cool. He just got some fire about him. It's a lot of fun. These guys play ball. Indiana at one point in the season had scored 40 points in every game they played. I'm not sure if that's still true, but um,
wow.
they are ballers at Indiana, and I would be looking for Indiana to do some upsetting potentially later this year against some bigger teams. But yeah, right now I think they easily handle Washington with that spread is like what 10 or 6.5, I think.
6.5.
Yeah, I take that. I personally would bet the spread there on Indiana. I think Indiana goes in there and whips them.
Yeah, I do too. Talk about a place that does not pipe in crowd noise. That would be University of Indiana. But despite that, I'm still taking the Hoosiers for sure. Absolutely. They got college game day there, just like we
Yeah,
talked about with Oregon. They don't get games like game day come to Indiana often, like you see at
right.
LSU or Alabama. This is unique. It's special for Indiana. They're going to take advantage of it. Washington's coming a long way. Washington and Indiana are not real close together.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like Indiana. I like Indiana to cover too. I'm with you on that. Indiana covers, and it's a big win for their program. I hope they get it done.
Yeah, now we got some guys here mentioning guys and girls that the quarterback is hurt for Indiana. I didn't realize that. I still don't think that changes the outcome of the game. Could be a little closer than we thought, but um,
Sure.
still, I mean, Indiana can run the ball as well as throw it, so I still like Indiana.
Yeah.
Um, great pick there. What a great show. Thanks
Good
everybody for
show.
tuning in. What you got? Last thoughts for us, brother Caleb? What's you got? Any final words for the people?
Yeah. I'm gonna be at the Kentucky game. Like I said, Knoxville, going to the grocery store today, gonna get all the condiments I need, try to figure
Hmm.
out what sizes, gonna take all kind of different clothes,
Hmm.
figure out what can go in my pants pocket, what's too big, what's too small. So if you
Hmm.
see me at the game, yeah, I'm ready to help you out with your hot dog or hamburger. Because I learned that today.
Love
That's the
it.
whole thing. Don't stay in line for the condiments. Bring your own into Neyland
Yeah.
Stadium. It's beautiful.
Absolutely. That's a great
What about you?
same. Well, I'll be there as well. You guys need to come find us in Knoxville there. Caleb and I'll both be at the game against Kentucky. Excited to be there. maybe doing a meet and greet myself at Alumni Hall there in Knoxville. Stay tuned about
Ooh,
information there, which would be cool. People come and meet, and we'll hang out. And
am I gonna have to
um,
stand in line for that?
you have to stand in line. Yes,
Okay.
absolutely,
Okay.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
But wear my Alumni Hall sweatshirt today. Great people there, and Game Time Sidekicks sponsoring my stuff and even helping us with our show here. So thank you guys for joining. Make sure, please. I know everybody that follows me, I'm so grateful. You all love my videos, and that's awesome. Please follow Honorable Mention Sports as well, because we got great content we're trying to crank out every single week. So check us out there. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys